Well, this is exciting here. Got another venue scheduled lined up here on the Get to Know Your Wedding Pro podcast. We have MaSanda over at Parkview Event Space, which I think we connected at the wedding show. And then I came over, saw South Lake Union, right? Kind of, I go there for cracking games here on the weekly anyway. Good location. MaSanda, why don't you say hi? How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
It's good. So unique space downtown, a lot of history to it, everything. Why don't you first and foremost, what is it that you guys have? Give us a little background, and then we can dive into kind of your involvement and kind of all the specialties. But what's kind of your elevator pitch for the venue?
Well, let's see. We are in the heart of South Lake Union, and we have an amazing rooftop terrace, which has a roof on it. Like I did all this research on rooftops, and half of them in Seattle didn't have a roof. And I'm thinking, what? They know we're from Washington, right? So we have a rooftop terrace. And so we have a lot of birthday parties, baby showers, retirement parties. And then what you're looking at here is the main performance hall or the sanctuary. And so there's weddings and concerts and educational events. So that's pretty much our space.
It's cool, and it's cool. It's a lot of different uses, large space. You have parking available. I know you guys do corporate as well as weddings. The rooftop stands out. The location, is that kind of what you view as the crown jewel of the Parkview Event Space?
Oh, totally. We're right across the street from Denny Park. And apparently 40 parking places, free parking places is a big hit. And most people that are planning an event go like, can you move that to the top of the list?
That's good. Yeah.
Are premium.
And what I was also really struck by was just, I guess, how nice everything was there, just in terms of upstairs at the main kind of where you would hold a ceremony, or you could have like a presentation or whatever. I thought really nice, clean, airy, wide windows off to the side with kind of a view there. In terms of things when clients come and they tour or they book the space, what stands out to them besides obviously the parking spots?
Well, first of all, they don't realize we're there. And so we're revealing ourselves in South Lake Union. And they love the modern architecture, the lighting, the light and bright, it's just a lovely modern new building. So pretty lovely.
So in terms of your involvement with all of this, first off, how did you get involved in all this? Give us a little bit about your background.
You want the back story, or
I want the back. This is the Get to Know Your Wedding Pro. So we need the whole backstory here.
I worked here 20 years ago. We share space with Seattle Unity, which is a church. I was the business manager. And 20 years later, they called me and said, hey, we have this brand new building and we need to set up a, event space that people can come and do all their events. So would you be interested in that? And I'm a systems person. I love setting up systems. And I thought, yeah, I'll do that. So here I am setting up all the systems and marketing and venue. And I just like people. I mean, I just love watching, the first birthday parties and the baby showers and the brides getting ready. And it's just lovely. And then we had Citizen University come and use our entire building. And just the innovation and the brainstorming, and it was just community happening in South Lake Union. So that's really what we want to be, is a center that people can come and use for whatever purpose.
What struck me as well, kind of touring, and especially in terms of the view from where you can have the ceremony space and then obviously the rooftop, feels very Seattle, right? If you were, if I'm, had people coming in from out of town, we have a lot of weddings and events, people that way, really feels like this is what we want you to envision as Seattle, right by South Lake Union. You can see the Space Needle. Is that, do you get a lot of that feedback as well?
Yes, like on the rooftop, we have the patio and it has the view of the Space Needle. So that's a great photography thing for folks that, are doing their weddings up there. The picture you have there is the patio, and people turn it into a dance floor, but people also put food out there. I mean, because we have a roof and enclosed walls, it's a year-round patio. So that makes it really nice.
Yeah, the functionality of it also cool. Walking through, knowing that you could maybe you could rent the whole building, you could rent certain areas of it. Talk about that just in terms of the flexibility of being able to kind of customize it for the event that you need.
Well, we have a Jewish community coming in, and they're going to be up here on the rooftop, but they also needed youth and family. So we also have a youth and family area that they can put the kids downstairs and they can have their meeting upstairs. So it has a lot of flexibility. But then we took the youth and family room, we turned it into a breakout room for Citizen University. So whatever people want to turn it into, is we're very flexible that way.
Like you said, in terms of the background, working there before, kind of the history of the space. Talk about when you walked me through in the previously, with the Seattle Unity, right? With the I guess the long lineage kind of history there of the architecture. It's a really unique space. Can you kind of talk through that of just kind of some of the little intricacies that way?
Yeah, the original building was built in 1957 and it went long ways, latitudinally. And then when they sold the parking lot next door, Waverly was built. And then that enabled us to go up. So we're a 3-story building now instead of going down the block. And then we also sold another portion to low-income housing next door to Waverly. So, and then we went into construction in 2020 and right at the pandemic, and perfect time to build a building, right? And then opened in October of 22. So we're brand new.
What has been some of the feedback you've been getting now that you've been able to kind of you did the wedding show or doing these tours and stuff? Obviously having bookings before, but like, what kind of feedback are you getting? What are the things that people really like?
What I noticed, like on a tour this week, was we were in the sanctuary or the main performance hall, and it's so quiet. I mean, we are running, and it was just quiet for them. So they thought whatever ceremony that they're doing, it's uninterrupted and it's a quiet, sacred space for their wedding, and that was really cool.
What's nice too about the men's sanctuary space, I think, is it can be dressed up, obviously, here more of a wedding, but also could very much be dressed for a corporate or kind of another feeling that way. I think it's a very universal space that way, where I think sometimes we do these, like, I don't want to throw anything, but I'll do a lot of hotel weddings and events and stuff. Okay, like this feels like we're in the ballroom. It could be kind of whatever venue, where this has the style. You're able to look outside, able to kind of view outside. You can have your ceremony with the windows behind, or you can have it off to the side. Do you find that the clients enjoy that, just kind of the versatility of that and how you can dress it up or down?
Yep, and we've had educational events where we took out all the chairs that you see in the main performance hall and we put in 60-inch round tables for a workshop. We've also had a political forum for the folks in downtown Seattle. So it just really depends on what people's needs are, and we're very flexible to be able to change it into whatever they want.
And obviously here I'm just showing the photo. If you're watching, not listening, and you have Denny Park right there. You can go take photos. I like that you could go excuse me, right down to that main park right by South Lake Union as well. We do that a lot for photos and being able to get kind of the water and the Space Needle and things like that. Very kind of close proximity to all of that, which is nice because, like I said, I know we do a lot of weddings where we go there anyway. So this is great to have the venue there nearby, kind of, because to me, doing it in that area, you want to make sure that you get those. And I think that's great. You can do full bridal party, but having the woods here, the park right next door, I think is a selling point as well, while still being kind of downtown for that urban view.
Yeah, they go over to Denny Park for the first look photos. There's also a labyrinth over there. So, and it's a great little park now. There's kids and it's a dog run, and, so it gives you a little bit of nature right in the center of South Lake Union.
So when clients come to work with you, you kind of walk them through all of this. What kind of experience do you want them to have in terms of dealing with the venue?
I want them to be able to walk in the door, because a lot of them are very nervous about their event and they're trying to get it in on time and set it up and go. And I just want them to walk in the door and know that we've thought of every detail, that it's set up just the way they want, that it goes off without a hitch. All the technology works. Then they have a great event, and then it's cleaned up and out the door and on to the next. But so that they just have a wonderful time. And we do get that kind of feedback as their guests are leaving. Wow, this is such a beautiful building. This was so nice. Especially for parties up in the rooftop, the people have just really talked about how lovely it is.
Well, it's so interesting. I mean, I travel so much now, not like large scale, but, up to Snohomish or Tacoma or kind of out to the moon. It's nice to have some more like Seattle, to be a Seattle wedding videographer or whatever, but to be able to have weddings actually in Seattle, and especially like, not that the downtown venues aren't great either, but sometimes the little Pioneer Square area is a little, feels a little, I can, you can get in and off the freeway there. I don't know. There's some benefits to having it be urban South Lake Union without necessarily down at Pioneer Square, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and there's folks, because we have of course, a big contingent of Amazon and all the other bigger Bill and Melinda and UW Medicine, and they're starting to discover us now. Wow, didn't know you were here. We could have our board retreat over here. How cool is that?
Yeah,
So that's
just right
kind of
across the
cute.
street.
Yeah, they may not live in downtown, but they work down there and they walking by. So that's pretty cool.
So more about you and kind of your background getting involved. You said you're a systems person. How does that kind of help, obviously maintain and kind of manage everything that we have here at the space?
Well, there's a lot of plates that are spinning, and I'm a detail person, so I want to be a calming person, like the calming force when you walk in the door, that all your needs are going to be met. So I'm ahead of them before they walk in the door to have it all ready to go, so that they can, seamlessly just move in there and have their event. So that's really my gift, is calm and have fun. So.
Do you enjoy, I was talking, I know we have talked as well about kind of corporate versus weddings, and I had another chat yesterday with a photographer and like, what do you like to do, weddings, corporate? I'm like, I like weddings, right? I like being involved in that, having the couples there and kind of living through and having me, like feel like I'm a part of their day and then kind of in the history of them and their family and stuff. Do you enjoy that and seeing the love and kind of being a part of those, and talk about kind of just the emotions you get for kind of being involved in that?
Well, I enjoy the corporate events because that's being of service in our community. But I have to say, Reed, my favorite is the first birthday parties, when they bring in the 20 little kids that I can't take pictures of because they're too young, but they have oh, it's so cute. Cuteness overload. So that's probably my favorites when I see them come in. But I also enjoy, being somebody wanted a boardroom for a board retreat because they just want to get out of their own building for a minute, and to be able to, or the South Lake Union Community Council needed meeting space, for some of the initiatives they're doing in South Lake Union. That's kind of cool to contribute to that. So, and provide a space so they can gather.
In terms of also of just, I was thinking just, we're talking about events and some logistical things, elevator, which is huge for load in, load out, kind of things like that. You talked a little bit about food and everything. I know when I toured, seeing the kitchen, and I'll get the photos pulled up here of that, and just kind of what you guys are able to do for the upstairs and being able to kind of host things as well up there.
Well, apparently, which, I'm kind of new to this world, most caterers are setting up in a corner, and we have a full commercial kitchen. So when they walk into our kitchen, they're like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. Like this picture you see here, it has the hot stations and the area for cold drinks, but there's also, stove, an oven, refrigerator, freezer, warming ovens. So, and then dishwasher if people, need to do the dishes, but it's all set up to just rock and roll through their event.
Which is great, kind of no matter what kind of event you're doing that way, like you said, doing a lot of bar mitzvahs, things like that, doing a lot of birthdays. Um, I don't know, it really just feels like kind of coming out of everything with 2020 and everything we lived through. It just feels like there's a lot more just things happening again. And maybe it always was and we weren't appreciating it, but certainly now kind of the communion of people, I think, is exciting, just to kind of for whatever it is. And I know we had events this week filming, and I just getting people together, kind of networking again, I think is exciting in that way.
Yeah, and I think that when people come to tour the building to book it for a party or a corporate event, I'm saying, you're lucky to be able to get the space, because once we become known, I'm gonna be a full calendar. So I'm just really grateful for the people that are coming now, and it's gonna be even busier, and I'm grateful for that.
Did you enjoy doing the show and kind of meeting that way? And I'm assuming more networking, throughout that. Have you enjoyed your experience with that as kind of a newer venue coming in?
You mean like at the Seattle Wedding Show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good. I'm an introvert, so for me to like come and talk to you was like, oh good, I can walk up and talk to Reed about his work, as opposed to walking in a room with people I don't know, which I didn't know anybody there. But yeah, the wedding show was amazing. Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, I enjoy that part of it very much. And I'm finding now that the more I go to networking events, it's like, oh, there's Reed again, or somebody else I've met already. So it's getting easier.
Well, and I was looking through getting the website and everything up here, looking through preferred vendor lists, seeing a lot of photographers I like, seeing a lot of vendors I like. So you're certainly making good connections that way as well. I will co-sign a lot of those you have on there. So
Oh,
excited to,
nice.
yeah, excited to see it that way. But no, I mean it's a good group that way. Just in terms of at least with the wedding shows and things, kind of everyone's there for one purpose. We can talk with the couples or whatever, but I don't know. It feels to me, I've always felt welcomed by the Seattle wedding community kind of as a whole. Do you feel that way? Because we see a lot in like Facebook message groups and stuff like, oh, the East Coast is hard, or this is to kind of break in and be a member of that. Did you find pretty easy enough kind of getting in and making yourself friendly in that way?
I think I'm just wading in the water now. I don't know the wedding community as well as I could. And that's why I went to the Seattle wedding shows to see, what kind of vendors are out there and still building those relationships. But I need to get more into the wedding scene and, find those folks that want to come to our venue.
Other things when you tour that you want people to know about the venue, things maybe that they ask a lot, that kind of frequently asked questions, things. Anything else you want to make sure we touch on in terms of the space itself?
Our sweet spot is up at the rooftop and in the main performance hall. And yet we've had a couple of like Citizen University and another architectural firm coming in to do their company party. They took over the whole building. So our capacity was much bigger than just those, the main performance hall and the rooftop. And when it was fun to see how Citizen University used the building. I mean, we have a quiet room downstairs and they use that as a quiet room. And the staff, we have a small conference room and they use that. And it was just really cool to see them utilize the entire space. So I'm always careful to say this is our capacity, but then what's your project and how can we expand it throughout the whole building?
Yeah,
Because the spring party is going to be like 400 people. So.
Okay, because I was going to say, I was sorry to jump on there. So yeah, what's an average, like you said, you can expand up way full, but what is kind of that sweet spot in terms of like whether it's a wedding or another event?
The rooftop is like 150, and then the main performance hall, if it's theater seating, is 220.
So I mean, it's a good, I mean, it's a high capacity venue, I guess, in that way, and kind of in the middle of Seattle, which is not always common.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to make sure we pointed out as well, nice getting ready spots for both, guys and girls, right? Or whoever, multiple bridal parties, good light, we kind of toured that as well. And anything else you wanted to point out that way in terms of niceties of anything else you have easy for the whoever's getting ready in the main kind of sanctuary area can kind of come out, and a large space would be good to stereotypically kind of like the bridal getting ready room. Anything else you wanted to point out that way?
Yeah, our bridal ready room doubles as our meditation room, doubles as our breakout room. So the meditation hall is this beautiful skylight area that just is beautiful as a bridal ready room. And then we have a green room behind the main performance hall for the grooms and the groomsmen. And that works out really well for them to get ready too. And the last wedding we had, there was some hilarious pictures of the grooms having a great time in the green room waiting for the wedding to start. And then we're kind of all faiths too. We had a Baha'i wedding, which was a totally different flavor than a traditional wedding. So we just respect all paths and how they want to create their special day.
Yeah, so here's the one getting ready space. Yeah, it was one.
Yes.
What I liked about both was the option for natural light in either. It's really hard sometimes, and again, not to throw any venues under the bus, but you go in some, and it's like, okay, here's the closet where the guys are getting ready or whatever. Good to have that way.
It's
I'm like, okay, let's go outside here. Like, I know you paid all this time, time and money to kind of have this space. Like, we're gonna go outside here, but it's nice that way. Like, you can see kind of the city views that way, and then even the downstairs area, right, kind of near the what would you call that? That
This is the quiet room. I was sitting at the front desk one day, and this woman walked in. She goes, "Do you have a quiet room I can sit down for a few minutes?" I said, "Well, yes, we do." And she went in there, came in this room, and sat down for about 30 minutes. And she came out and said, "Thank you," and then she left. And I thought, well, I'm glad we created that room.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we do in fact have a quiet room. But no, I mean, like I said, kind of scrolling through the photos here. The other thing I wanted to point out about the meditation room, the bridal suite, so great, huge, large area, obviously super high ceilings where it's kind of up. I don't even know what you call that, but kind of into the rafters, kind of whatever. But so often, you got 5, 6, 7 girls, and you're getting ready, and you got hair and makeup or whatever, and you're like, okay, let me. We have no space in here. I love this. Plenty of area. Dump all your stuff, get in there, kind of move in and out, kind of how that goes. Because it is amazing. People show up and it's like it just you open your luggage, it just explodes everywhere.
And we bring in a floor length mirror and a makeup mirror or whatever else they need, a rack to hang all their dresses and stuff. So it really becomes a bridal ready room. So
Anything else? Like I said, we want to make sure we touch on here before we get out. Like I said, we talked location, everything, capacity, any other kind of things I'm forgetting to ask you about. We wanted to make sure we get in here.
I think you covered it all because we have the capacity to offer a lot of variety, from personal celebrations to corporate events to weddings to memorials. We did a number of memorials last year. So we're a very multifaceted venue and able to offer a lot.
And I would say, and I've actually had a bunch of memorials lately, which is weird, just it kind of comes in bunches, at least in terms of my coverage of all that stuff. But even having that, a nice quiet space with the kitchen and everything there, even if not utilizing the full capacity of like, we need an industrial kitchen, doing all of that, I think is hard because I think people, if you're not going through maybe a home or they're trying to figure it out as well, but it is overwhelming. I think having a space like you guys where you can walk through, okay, you only need these kind of spaces and we can make that work. You could hold that outside on the rooftop. If it was a small, you could have it in the thing. I think that proves as well. I think that would be another good use for it. Lots of good uses for the space.
Yeah, like in the main sanctuary performance area, we have built-in live stream and an audio booth. So if it's a large, for example, in a memorial, they can live stream so their family can be present for the ceremony. But then we've had smaller, to your point, smaller memorials upstairs in the rooftop where they just want to gather as a group and be able to share stories, and they didn't care about live streaming. And then there was, there's surround sound up there with a monitor. So if they want to do a slideshow, but they could do that down here in the main performance hall as well. And then some groups have their food out in the lobby here. Some, do their ceremony in the main performance hall, and then they go up to the rooftop for the reception. So it just depends on what you want, what you need.
And then finally here, kind of rounding out, like you talked about having this retractable roof, I think is really nice, making it a 365 space up there. Obviously, you could bring in heaters or kind of whatever you need that way. But it's a really nice space because that's always the worst thing is, we're renting this and then it's Seattle and, okay, we can't use it or like, I mean, and this is no disrespect. We've had rental companies on here before. Some of the tents aren't always, okay, it's, we're kind of in a white bubble there. It is nice here to have that and have that option, have it be kind of versatile that way as well.
Yeah, no, we had another group that just they draped off part of the main performance hall. So then they created a reception. So they didn't want to use the whole thing, but they wanted to use part of the sanctuary. So it's whatever they want. So.
Anything else you want to make sure we'll kind of touch base here and get out of here, but anything else you wanted to make sure we touched on?
Well, for those that are event planners or people that want to come and check out the space, our next open house is on May 9th. So that's up and coming. Then people can come and tour the building themselves.
Come and check it out. Yeah, like I said, great spot, easy to get to, right off I-5 or right off the tunnel there with 99. But I do appreciate coming on today. Like I said, trying to kind of ramp up my preferred vendor list here, moving in. That's my 2024 goal, working through it, recording more of these podcasts. If people want to get a hold of you, where would you have them go?
they would go to events@parkviewseattle.com. And then you get
Perfect.
me. Yep.
And we got it. Like I said, you're very super responsive at taking people around, doing all of that stuff. So nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on. If you're a vendor interested in coming on, sharing your story, I know I have a photo booth coming up. I know I have another, I think a hair and makeup artist coming up as well. bestmadevideos.com/podcast guest. And that's a nice, easy questionnaire you can fill out that way. I appreciate it, MaSanda. We will see you next time. I'll play the outro music here. Thanks so much.
Bye, Reed.